Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of For the Record with me, Ross Petty. What a treat we've got for you in the studio today. A veritable feast for the eyes and the ears. A bona fide 90s pop legend joins us today. Born January the 24th, 1975 in Wanstead, he was the founder member of one of the most popular boy bands of the era. The girls in the studio are getting mighty excited today at the prospect of seeing this young man. Yes, we are joined by Mr. Paul Marazzi from A1. He's in the studio right now and he's here to talk to me. So Paul, I'd love to just jump in there straight away.
Go for it.
You're back. You're looking absolutely great.
Thank you.
Are you feeling good?
I feel really, really good, yeah.
The comeback is on. Paul's going to be performing some shows later on this year. His comeback show is actually, you've got your first comeback show in just a few days.
Yes.
And then the next big show, you're going to be on the bill with the Overtones.
That's
on
correct,
on the 19th of September. Looking
yeah,
forward to that?
I'm really looking forward to that one as well.
And I believe we've got exclusive, you're going to be performing for us today as well.
If that's okay, that'd be brilliant, yeah.
I was a big fan of that era, big fan of the boy bands, and I was a big fan of A1. You and the guys, I thought you had some brilliant tunes and you had a really good run.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, talk about sort of how you became a member of A1. I know that you sort of sent off an audition.
Well, I was actually living in Spain, and I was just, my dad actually had a pub, my sister had a pub with my dad on the beach called the Old Ship. Right. They had a karaoke machine and we just used to muck around after a few nights after it had shut, and my sister was like, you haven't got a bad voice. Yeah. And I was like, I've always been kind of shy. Right. So, a few times at New Year's Eve when everyone was a bit like worse for wear, I'd just go, all right, okay, I'm confident enough, let's do it. So, things led to another, one thing led to another. And
so that's how it came about?
Yeah, so I sent off a demo tape, me singing a few covers, like a George Michael song and a Prince song and things like that. And I didn't realise at the time, but I was actually sending off a tape to join Steps. Wow. The pop group Steps. And so they got my tape and they said, I want to keep you for a later kind of project.
And then A1 comes about.
Yeah, me and my dad went to London, went to this open audition. It was overwhelming. There was 3,000 people there. And it was it was actually my first time singing in front of a lot of people, as well. So
sort of zero experience apart
No experience.
At what point was it you, Mark, Christian and Ben on stage for the first time?
Oh, that wasn't for 3 years.
3 years?
Because I did my first audition and I was the only person picked. So after the audition, he said, would you like just to go for a solo career now? And I said, no, I'm not ready. It's a confidence thing. It was my first time singing. I was being the only person picked. I still wanted to take everything slow because I didn't have much experience. When we got the other three on board, it was just a matter of songwriting, getting some half decent songs together, because you have to do showcases first. You have to meet record companies and meet their A&R departments, and they come and see you, and obviously you're trying to get signed by a record company. So that's what it was building towards. In the end, we met two really nice people from Columbia, Sony, and they just decided, we've got a vision for these guys, and they helped mould us into A1.
Let's talk about some of the high points. I mean, 2 number 1 singles. Yeah. You had 8 top 10s in the UK alone. You had massive success across Europe. And even now, to this day, people are posting on a weekly and daily basis. Some of your fans out there posting sort of tribute videos to you, sort of all that kind of thing. It's still a big deal for a lot of those fans out there. What were some of the better times that you had, some of the good memories? Is there any stories that sort of spring to mind?
I think maybe the first time we did Top of the Pops. It's not on now. It was the most important television programme for years and years and years. First time we go to Top of the Pops, for me that was very, very special. We were walking down the corridor and I saw Marilyn Manson and Prince was there once, and Robbie Williams was there, and it was really nice. You boys travelled here, there and everywhere. Your face was on the cover of Top of the Pops magazine, Smash Hits magazine. Yep. What was a day in the life of Paul Marazzi in A1 at that time? I'll do a weekend, like say a Saturday would be getting up about 6, and you get picked up and you get driven, actually probably earlier than that, 5, picked up about 6, and you're going to one of these weekend shows like SMTV or something like that, or the Big Breakfast when that was on. You do your slot, and there's loads of other bands there doing their slots, and then you might leave there, and then you might have to go and do a photo shoot. Yeah. So you go to a photo shoot and you do the thing, and you do an interview, like a recorded interview. Then you could be just getting on a plane and flying somewhere. That was typical. I mean, the days were so full.
It was announced that Paul Marazzi is quitting A1 due to personal reasons.
Yeah.
Talk about those reasons.
What was happening was, we'd released a single, Caught in the Middle. It did very, very, very well. It was actually, as far as units go, sales go, it was our biggest single.
Yeah, over time it sold more.
Yeah. I think we broke worldwide 1 million on that, and that's really good. It's really,
wow.
it's good for a song. And then the next single, 11. That is just not acceptable. And at the time we were at a point where we had a 5-album deal, and this was our 3rd album, and we weren't really moving album units.
And that's how quick that happened.
Yeah, and in this time the song was called Make It Good, which we named our album Make It Good.
Yeah.
Because we all loved that song so much. None of us had a problem releasing that song, because it was our, it was
the
song.
title track, you all believed in it.
But it didn't really work. I don't think that image change worked, which I was scared of.
How, if you could be in that time and have that moment over again, I mean, did you see anything at that time? Did you sort of...
Oh yeah, I said to everyone, we've got to start dancing. We can't do this. We're going to alienate people. We need to start dancing again. The thing is, I was the only one who actually liked dancing, and they still are very, very serious musicians, So I think they thought they've done their time dancing. Let's get a little bit more serious, And it was a risk we all took. It just didn't pay off, which is a shame.
There was interviews on TV shows in this country and across Europe.
Yeah.
The boys all wished you luck and had said they didn't want to elaborate on anything. Your statement was your statement. You were leaving for personal reasons, and that was your privacy. And
well, we shot a video after that. I mean, we'd done a song with a French artist called Evangélie.
This is where the stories, or the lines of the stories, start to blur, because this was featured on the ITV2 show, The Big Reunion.
Okay.
They spoke about the French version of Caught in the Middle.
Oh yeah.
And there was some sort of...
I know, I read that on the printout. They said I didn't come to the video shoot.
That's right. And apparently Ben had received a text saying, not even from you, saying that Paul's not coming, and that's it.
Well, if you can go on YouTube, and it's on there, it's called Sino de France, and I'm in the video. Because I went to the video shoot.
So obviously you can't believe everything you read or everything that you see.
No, everything has an angle, and you've got to respect that angle,
So I don't want to dwell on it too much, but there was an incident that happened. It was reported in the news, and it was on The Big Reunion. It was a pretty awful moment. You were at a signing in Jakarta, where you had an immense following. The fans arrive, and there's a lot more fans than the venue was expecting. Before you know it, there's a bit of confusion, and you guys get whisked away, only to be told shortly thereafter that because of the immense number of people and the situation and the fans being so huge in volume and numbers, a terrible tragedy took place. How was the news delivered to you guys, and how did you feel when you heard about this tragedy?
More people showed up than we thought was going to show up, and that they actually had capacity for. And well, we didn't know anything about it, and we just got rushed out of the place, back to the hotel. Then we got told about it. We were all obviously upset when we were close to tears. I started crying, as we all did on different occasions about it, of course. And I started crying on this microphone, and like people were like, "Oh, that's good, that's good."
Really?
And you're like, "This isn't right." That's yeah.
That's pretty shocking. Thank you for speaking so candidly about that. Anyway, let's talk about the future.
Yeah.
The present.
I obviously I was in Spain, I was in America doing some singing and writing, New York, New Jersey, I was there for a year. And then I got in touch with an old friend of mine, and his name's Paul Newby.
Yeah.
And he's actually here today. So
This is
looking very handsome as
he's
usual.
lovingly known to and referred to as Nobby.
Nobby, yeah. So people not from the northeast. It's a very strange name, but it does suit him because he's a bit knobby.
So Paul, we're talking about we touched on the reality shows. You were offered pretty much at one time everything that was going. So, for example, the Celebrity Big Brother, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, the Jungle.
Yeah, Dancing on the Ice one. So there's one time a call came through from my at the time agent saying, right, Paul, Peter Andre's walked out the jungle. We want you to replace him. And I thought, shall I do it? I thought, no, I can't do it. I thought about it once then. About doing it.
So you almost went and replaced
I almost did, but no, I didn't.
I think you would have made a great contestant.
I don't know.
So going on from the reality TV, we're coming to 2014, ITV2, the big reunion.
Yeah.
An opportunity, or maybe not an opportunity, certainly an opportunity to see the boys again. I would have loved to have seen the four of you bring out another album.
Well, that's what I was trying to get towards before the big reunion. But I think when if it ever came to us ever doing another project together, I would have rather it be, personally for me, more organic, sitting down, coming up with some new sounds, playing around with production and song ideas, and that way, rather than like this big kind of industrial money kind of train thing that's chugging along and it's just nostalgia fest.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be more organic. When they approached me, I said to Mark, you know what? I'll come down just to meet you guys.
Yeah.
I'd love to come out to London when Christian's there. We'll go out and I'd love to just see you and give you a big hug. And that was my exact words to him. Give you all a big hug. And he was like, yeah, but wouldn't that be a shame if the fans didn't see that hug? And I was like, from that moment, for me, when he said that, I just thought, we are never going to be on the same page. This is a shame. But they decided to do it. I decided not to do the show because it's not something I would do anyway. And then once I knew I wasn't doing it and they were, I knew the only way they'd be kept on the show was to make it interesting, which is what they did.
You say make it interesting, and it's a very nice way of putting it. Mm-hmm. Some people would say the guys threw you under the bus.
Yeah, well, that was already happening. I mean, they said, why don't you just take the money and then just not show up? That's what they said to me, because they were just wanting to do the show, because they weren't going to be accepted on the show without me.
Right.
And I was thinking, this is a hard decision. But in the long run, I don't think it was something I personally would look back on and go, I'm really proud I did that.
Yeah.
So I just said I couldn't do it.
I think a fair thing to say would be, in order to say exactly what was on your mind at that time, you took to Twitter and you sent out a tweet that was pretty direct and pretty to the point. Tell us about that.
I was very angry, I was very upset. I'd already spoken to them privately just prior to that, just basically severing any ties. I was quite hurt, sent that out, and that's it, and that was it. Just, they're out, finished, done.
Were you a little bit disappointed?
I was really, really disappointed.
So, here we are,
Yeah.
2015. Paul Marazzi, where have you been?
Everywhere. But most recently, for the last 10 years, I've been up in the northeast.
Yeah.
Wanting to just learn my craft, really. When I left the music industry, I won't say when I left A1, when I left the big thing in the music industry, you kind of realise you didn't do a lot of music.
Yeah, and absolutely no better place to start than the northeast.
I know, it is a haven for just amazing artists and talent. I've met some brilliant artists and seen some bands you'd never see them. Like, these bands have never made it, but they're so polished and brilliant, and that's when you're around these people, then they're your peers, you know, they're
Yeah.
the people you're aspiring to be like or as good as, and they're really, really good.
I know you worked really hard on sort of picking up the guitar, as you said, learning your craft. Was that because you were sort of really wanting to write, and you
Well,
had your voice?
I had no problem with writing as such, but to translate it into music, I've never been able to do. I've always had to sit down with a musician, and it doesn't take away the fact that I've written a song, but it kind of takes away my interpretation of it.
Right.
Or they'll say, because I didn't know chords or chord progressions, I just knew what sounded good.
Yeah.
But now I've got a choice, you know. If I'm sitting with a musician, for example, and they go, "How does this sound?" and I'm thinking, "Well, that works. Let's go with that." But now I can sit with the guitar. I'm not that I'm a great guitarist, far from it. But I can sit down and I can work out my chords, and I can pick a chord that works just for me and how I envision a song, which is, as far as songwriting, that was really helpful for me. As far as singing, obviously I was a vocalist in the pop band, but I was never a lead vocalist, and just learning just different tricks that you only get from night after night, standing there in front of different crowds and different places, and just getting a feel for your own kind of voice.
So you have been in and around the music scene, just not in the music industry, if you like.
I've been around the part of the music industry that's the only really part that I have any passion for, and that's just live singing, playing around with music, rehearsing, just having a good laugh, really.
So we've chatted about the past, we've chatted about sort of where you've been. Why now all of a sudden? I mean, you've been doing these sort of smaller gigs, sort of cutting your teeth, like you said, writing and performing. Now your big comeback gig is going to be on September the 19th at Rainton Meadows Arena, a huge venue in front of a huge audience, on the same bill with the Overtones.
Yes.
This isn't a small gig by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, why now, sort of dipping your toe back in the water?
Well, I've got lots and lots of people I've been working with last few years. A guy approached me from a company called iStage, and they sounded excited. And I was like, you know what, it could be exciting. And we were just talking about the possibilities of what we could do on stage and the kind of songs we could do and revisit some old songs. And that's why it's now, because someone's got me excited about it again.
So you are excited?
Very, very much.
You seem like you're excited. I mean, there's a really positive vibe coming from you. You've got a great energy now. You're sounding incredible. You're looking great. You seem like this time now, it's almost a rebirth, if you like. You're sort of ready to sort of go and own the moment and really take it to the next level. You personally, Paul, are so popular out in sort of Southeast Asia, Japan, the Philippines, and you've got a mega loyal fan base out there.
I know, they're amazing. There's things going on behind the scenes, because I've always said to iStage, the people I'm working with at the moment, that for me is the place that I really want to revisit.
Yeah.
And there are things going on behind the scenes that are looking very good for maybe late 2016, early 2017. We're definitely going to be going over there.
We'll be seeing a lot more of each other in the future. This is Paul Marazzi. Would love to have a song, if you wouldn't mind playing us out. That would be ace. That would be awesome for me as a fan and everybody else watching. Would you do us a song, Paul?
If Nobby's still awake,
we'll wake Nobby up.
Okay. Well, I'd love to, if that's okay.
That would be brilliant. Thank you so much for talking to me,
so
Paul.
much.
You've been an absolute gem, a diamond to speak to. Go and get yourself ready. This is Paul Marazzi singing us out.
You said that love was just a state of mind, a puzzle made of pieces you can't find. But for me, you never really had the time, and I was blind. Oh, and everything that you meant to me, it was written in the pages of our history. But it's over now as far as I can see. Suddenly